Greetings, Commanders, and welcome back to the Deep Space Carrier series here in Elite Dangerous. We are in a fuel stop, or at a fuel stop, or whatever it is you want to call it, here at a gas giant with icy rings and a couple of tritium hotspots. At the moment, I have a full tank of tritium, in addition to about, let's check our inventory here. We have about 676 additional tritium stored on the carrier. Today is Friday, and I'm recording this episode to publish on Monday. So as of Monday, when you guys watch this video, I will hopefully have done a couple more days of fueling up the carrier. I kind of want to try to get up to around 2,000 extra tritium in the tank, in addition to the 1,000 that we have in the actual tank itself. So that's kind of what I'm trying to get to. But for today's episode, we're going to go ahead and do some exploration nearby the carrier. Our first destination is going to be out to the next waypoint that our carrier is going to be jumping to. So we'll just kind of fly out here real quick. It's only about 8 jumps, and then we'll just kind of take a roundabout way to come back. But we got to have something to do for today's episode that isn't mining, because we did that last time, and mining's kind of boring. So why spend a bunch of time doing that? I'll do that on my time, and we'll go try to see if we can find some cool stuff. I think that's probably a good way to go. So let's go ahead and get away from the carrier. Okay, I guess we have to get around the planet here, so that's fine. It's always something. And then we'll boost until we're on the other side and get line of sight to the next destination, and there we go. All right. So I'm mostly just picked that as a destination because, you know, it gives us something to do. We're obviously not going to need to refuel for a while, hopefully, assuming I can get a decent amount of mining done in the next couple of days. But yeah, it's a direction to go. It's kind of hard to pick a direction when you don't have something to pick, you know? So I figure we can start by going there and then kind of take a parallel route back. And by the time we're done with all these jumps, we should be pretty good for the episode. So as always, we're going to boost into the star to minimize the amount of time it takes us to get this process done. 11 bodies is pretty good. We'll go ahead and scan that. Let's go ahead and get out of the fuel scooping, get down below the plane of the system. Hop into the full spectrum system scanner. Unfortunately, it looks like there's only going to be icy bodies-ish. Yeah, rocky ice worlds and icy bodies. Probably not the most interesting thing in the world, but we'll check them out anyway. So that takes care of the rocky icy bodies. No biology there. We're just looking for biological features to show up in the top right corner of the screen there. Unfortunately, so far, nothing. Okay, these are the last two here. They are almost certainly not going to have anything, so yep, moving on. Next system, charge up the frame shift drive and hop into the next one. Alright, this one only has 3, so we'll go ahead and pop the frame shift drive as soon as it's ready. This ship has enough cooling that we can start charging it while we're still in the fuel scoopable area of the star. We're generally able to get out of it before we start overheating, so it's generally not too bad. We also just have a massive safety net from the fact that we have our carrier out here, so any damage we sustain is easily repairable. Our carrier is invulnerable, so it's kind of an easy mode when it comes to being out here in the black like this. All right, 12 bodies here. We'll go ahead and check this one out. Hopefully we'll find something interesting. If we can find some biology to go down and scan, we'll probably just go scan it and then head straight back to the carrier, because that'll probably take up an entire episode if we can do that. I generally try to record for about 30 minutes, and then by the time I finish cutting everything, lately it's been, 15 to 20, something like that. I decided to do some basic video editing. I've been avoiding it for a very long time because the render times on my old computer were really long. I basically had to render. It took as long to render a video as the length of the video was. So a half-hour video would take a half hour to render. I was like, ugh. Basically having to put in twice the time to make these videos than if I just set everything up so that I can record things and have it just be a finished product when I'm done. And I generally prefer to do that, but unfortunately, you're not always able to foresee what's going to be interesting and what's not. So I have noticed that the stats for my Elite Dangerous videos have gone up since I started cutting out all the... I basically just go through and cut out all the parts where I'm not talking. And I have noticed that viewership has gone up, so clearly it's more interesting when I'm talking. That doesn't mean I want to just continue talking and rambling all the time. That's not going to be any more interesting than, the other stuff I've been doing. But I think people just, if you don't... I don't think most people want to just watch somebody playing a game. They want to feel like they're hanging out with the person. So if you can be, I'm fairly good at talking about things, especially if I have interesting topics to go over. Most of the time I don't. But if I have some interesting topics to go over and I can like kind of just babble about stuff as I go, I think that's what most people are looking for when it comes to like this gaming content. Like you're either looking to find somebody who's going to impress you with their gameplay skills, or you're looking for somebody who makes you feel like they're hanging out with you. And I think that's what a lot of people still know. Biological features. It's one of the big reasons why podcasts are such a big thing, because it just makes you feel like you're in the middle of a conversation, and there's a lot of people that just crave that. I don't necessarily. I can spend days at a time without talking to anybody, and I'm perfectly fine. Most people really struggle with that. Most people really struggle with isolation. I mean, everybody struggles with isolation, but some people deal with it better than others. I'm the kind of person who I could probably spend a month or more by myself and probably be pretty okay. I know it doesn't seem like that because especially those of you who watch me on a regular basis, you probably would not have guessed that about me because I'm constantly talking throughout this entire stuff. But when I'm by myself, I'm actually pretty content when I'm by myself, which is funny because I'm married. It bothers my wife that I don't get lonely. Like she's the opposite of me. She needs attention. She needs all of those things. I do my best to give it to her, but she can't deal with isolation. She can't deal with like she's like I make fun of her because she's Mexican, so I call her like a Chihuahua because she has that kind of Chihuahua isolation. What's it called? Separation anxiety. She's got that separation anxiety thing that little dogs tend to have when their owner's away. We're definitely very opposite from each other, and she struggles with that because she wants me to need contact with her as much as she needs contact with me, and I just don't, because I'm a very solitary person. Go ahead and start moving forward on that. Get the frame shift drive going. Hop into the next system. So I try not to talk too much about my personal life, especially when it comes to the people in my life. I don't mind talking about myself that much, but sometimes I stumble into talking about other people, and I'm like, I should probably keep that to myself. I don't. That wasn't a specific example of that, but if you're wondering why I don't really go into like a whole bunch of personal details and things like that, it's mostly because the people in my life would have to deal with that. I don't think they really want to. All right, 7 bodies is pretty good. Got the discovery scanner done. Over here, let's see what we got as far as icy bodies. Stuff got stuck behind the star. We'll go ahead and relocate since we're not really in a hurry. Most of the time, because we have a destination to get to, if the bodies show up behind the star like that, I'll just be like, screw it, we're just gonna leave. But because we're not really in a hurry, we're just kind of trying to kill some time because we can't leave until we're fueled up and everything. I need a couple more days to get that done. Hopefully I went the right. All right, I gotta wait for the adaptive zoom error to go away because for whatever reason they decided it needed to sit there for 5 seconds. All right, well, nothing there. Let's move on to the next one. Our next jump is the destination for our fleet carrier next, so that's cool. But normally I would only be worried about that if the fleet carrier needed to move. Now, if we find another tritium hotspot in this system, I might just go ahead and initiate the jump now because we can always just put it there, and then that'll only use up some fuel. So if we happen to get lucky and there's another icy ring in here with some tritium hotspots, I'll probably go ahead and move the carrier so that we can get some progress done. But otherwise, I'm just going to leave the carrier where it is. For some reason, I just forgot to boost into this. All right, so yeah, no gas giants here. Fortunately, none of the planets that are here are behind the star. Oh, single biology on a high metal content world. We'll go ahead and check that out on the off chance that it happens to be stratum tectonicus. Almost no chance of that. It's almost certainly just going to be bacteria, but it gives me hope that there's other biology here because there seems to be a lot of high metal content planets, and if we can find one with 2, that's another stratum tectonicus, probably first footfall situation here. Okay, that's almost certainly going to be bacteria. It's weird that we've only found 1 high metal content with... Wow. Okay. Well, since we don't have anywhere to go yet, we'll go and scan this planet, verify that it's just bacteria, And then if it ends up being just bacteria, we're just going to turn around and start heading back to the carrier. And I mean, realistically, we could probably just route back to the carrier, and I think it's going to take us through, mostly through systems we didn't go through, because the jump range will start and we'll jump through different systems on the way back. That's how it should work? I don't know. We'll route it back that way, and then if the first couple of systems we go through are already explored, we already explored them, then maybe we'll try to figure something out. But for expediency's sake, I think I'm just going to go ahead and target the fleet carrier now, because we're already halfway through the episode. Is there a oh, I was out. My mouse is outside the window. I wonder why it wasn't responding. All right, we got all 6 of our probes out there. Should get the efficiency bonus. Normally, if I was just doing a scan for a planet, I'd just go ahead and take off, because you don't have to wait for this process to finish. But because we want to find out what kind of thing is here, it's just bacteria. So we're not going to waste our time. Yeah, we're not going to waste our time with that. The time it takes to land is just... it's not worth the money we're going to get out of that. So we're just going to go ahead and head back to the carrier. Oh yeah, it seems like... oh yeah, these are all different these are all different systems. So yeah, we're going to be good. So let's start heading back towards the carrier and see if we can find anything interesting along the way. Alright, 3 bodies here, so we're not going to be hanging out in this one. Frame shift drive is ready to go, so let's get out of the star as quick as we can before we overheat. 14 bodies on this one, so... get our fuel scooping down, then try to go down below the plane of the system so that hopefully none of the bodies will be behind a star. Got ourselves a water world. Ooh, we're going to go scan that. Absolutely going to scan that. Well, we'll target it, but seems like most of this stuff is just a bunch of crap. IC bodies, high metal content. I don't know. I'm on the fence about whether it's worth it to go over there for this one. All right, well, we went through and did all of that. There is one more high metal content planet somewhere around here, but yeah, I don't think it's worth 192,000 light seconds. Even with the boost, we're only going to get like a couple million out of that, and I don't know. It just doesn't feel like it's worth it to go scan the water world that far away. Even with the overdrive, it's still going to take a couple minutes to do that. All right, another system with 14 in it, so let's get down below the plane again and see if we could find something interesting in this one. So far, it's been a big nothing burger, but who knows? Maybe our fortunes will change here in the near future. Still nothing there. Nothing there. It is super frustrating to have to, like, tweak this stupid scanner just when there's all these things right next to each other. You can't just go scan, go scan, go scan. I'm gonna go, stop, scan, shift this frequency thing over and then scan that. Like, come on. We need a much more efficient way of doing this. Icy body with rings. Look at that. Still not gonna go... we're not gonna move the carrier there or anything. It's not far enough ahead to justify doing a jump for that. Alright, we had some high metal content with some geology on it, but nothing else that's particularly compelling, so let's move on to the next system. Alright, with 12 objects in this system, we can go ahead and scan this one as well. We're getting pretty lucky with the number of bodies in the system on these. Lots of stuff between 10 and 15, and you know, that particular general area. It says there's an Earth-like world here, maybe. Earth-like world or a rocky ice world. Nah, I think it's a rocky ice world. Thought we were gonna have an Earth-like world there for a second. Single biology, so it means it's gonna be bacteria. There's always a chance it's something else, but the chance is so small it's not worth taking the time to go do the scan. Your mileage may vary, but for me, it's not worth the time it's gonna take to go do that. Alright, nothing in this one either. 2 bodies on this one means there's no scanning to be done here, so we can go as soon as our frame shift drive is ready to go. Just gotta hurry up and get out of the star before we overheat. And move on to the next one. We have about 3 jumps left until we make it back to the carrier. Kind of disappointing that we're not finding anything along the way. There are only 6 bodies on this one, so we'll definitely be scanning this. I see bodies, but who knows? Maybe there'll be something that has like 3 or 4 or 5 different things to scan. I don't know. You never know what you're going to find in these systems, but more often than not, it ends up being a whole lot of nothing. Okay, where is this random planet that's just hanging out? Yet again, nothing. 2 more opportunities before we get back to the carrier. Hey, yet another one that's right in the sweet spot of stuff that I want to scan. So we'll go ahead and do the scanning for this one as well. Yeah, ooh, we got a gas giant and everything. No features there. That gets rid of the asteroids, so that's good. I was half expecting there to be a body behind the star because we didn't get down far enough. Alright, I think the rest of them might be around whatever gas giant there is. And find that. There we go. Wow, that would have been a nice one to find. Geological. Geological. There's another gas giant nearby as well, it looks like. It's all icy rings, too. Alright, still no biology, so on to the next system. We got... Oh, I guess not. The next system is where our carrier is. We already know where that is. We already know what's in there. Damn it! I was really hoping to find something more interesting than that, but unfortunately it was just a little excursion out into space just because. Alright, we are in the system now, so let's go ahead and find the carrier here, get the Super Cruise Assist turned on. I ended up, out of habit, boosting into the star, so now we gotta wait for the recharge to happen, but that's okay. And then as we always do, we get down to 7 seconds, pop it down to 3/4 throttle, while we wait to get within 20 light seconds or so. Then we can pop the throttle up, we can pop the distance down, or pop the ETA up to 5 seconds, which should put us into the quick drop mode. And so pop it up into the 5 seconds of ETA. I can't tell if the carrier is on. You know what? We're gonna do a little bit of repositioning. This should allow us to do what we want to do. So get the lock on there. We should be able to get the quick drop going. Much less of a risk of slamming into things. And there we go. Quick dropped into the thing, boost towards the carrier. I'm talking a lot right now because the way I do my cuts in my videos is I just look at the audio waveform, and when I see that it doesn't look like I'm talking, I snip those parts out. And I don't really pay much attention to what's actually happening. So I'm kind of training myself to only talk when things are happening. So for this part here, I kind of try to talk a lot because I know some of you guys like to watch the landing process because I tend to be a fair bit reckless with my landings. So I'm trying to make sure that I just kind of chat a little bit. All right, cool. So that takes care of our landing. We didn't really get anything done, but yeah. Thanks for watching. Be sure to click the like button, subscribe to help us reach 10,000 subscribers, join as a member for early access to videos, among other perks, or you can just leave YouTube's version of a tip with the thanks button. Also, I have PayPal and Patreon links in the description if you prefer to go that route. I'm going to spend the next couple of days doing a little bit more mining to stock up on the carrier, and then tomorrow's episode for you guys will be continuing on with the journey out to Vig's Beacon, or out to Vig's, because that's the waypoint that we're trying to head to on our way out to Oob. So, yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you for the next one.